As Black History Month comes to a close and we enter the final stretch of award season, it's time to pull up to the 2026 NAACP Image Awards. In a political climate working overtime to roll back our progress and suppress our history and stories, we need this space to validate our own brilliance because clearly our top talent can't even cross the pond in peace.
Yes. Y'all saw Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo get the N-word stray, okay, over at the BAFTAs. And while we are holding a whole lot in this very complex situation and disability and everything, we can also note that the BBC prioritizing one person's inclusion over other people's inclusion is particularly interesting.
Yeah, it is. But we need our own rooms where the only outbursts from the crowd are more affirming, like, I see you, or yes. It's the morning after the show, and we're getting into all of our favorite movie-related moments, the gags, the speeches, and the culture-shifting wins. I'm Ray Love Jr.
And I'm Tre'vell Anderson.
And we are Seated, the blackest show about movies.
Oh man, I love being black. I love y'all.
The NAACP Image Awards was established in 1967 by the Beverly Hills and Hollywood branch of the NAACP. Now, this was originally a fundraiser, and they really just wanted to honor our outstanding achievements by people of color in entertainment and literature. And the first award show happened at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills. Could you possibly guess who the first host was, Tre'vell, by chance?
James Earl Jones.
That's a good guess, but was he 67? How long was James Earl Jones in the game? Was he around then?
He was around. I don't know. I think so.
Well, the first formally credited host on record didn't appear until I think their 12th ceremony in 1980, and it was co-hosted by Louis Gossett Jr. and Rita Moreno, and Ted Lane, who I'm not as familiar with. Benjamin Hooks and Jack Valenti also kind of participated as hosts too. So they had, it sounds like a bit of a variety show situation happening with their hosts then. And so the 1972 awards introduced their first motion picture winner. Could you possibly guess who that could be?
Which year? 72?
72, yeah.
I don't know. Shaft.
I can see how you got
70s?
there, but when we think about NAACP, they're more, I'll say, traditional in taste.
Oh, right. Oh, yes, I understand. You said I went blaxploitation,
Yes.
and I should not have. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
How could I forget
Exactly.
that this is the NAACP? They don't want you to say AACP.
Yes.
no more.
I'm trying
Imam call them NAACP. I'ma call them NAACP.
I've called them NAACP my whole life, but since they've been trying to, correct the people, I'm just going with what the people tell me now, trying to respect what people want to be called,
This is one of them things where, when an organization, is like doing things when you should be focused on other things.
Yeah.
This to me feels like one of those situations. You out here trying to rebrand the NAACP, moniker, when there's a host of other things. I'll just say like that. There's a host of other things that we could be, trying to work toward. But I'm sure they're walking and chewing gum at the same time.
Child. Anyway, the 1972 motion picture winner was actually Lady Sings the Blues. Just to close the loop on that, because I know we about to get deep up into our thoughts about this.
Yes. And I do want to say Shaft was 71, so I did get the era correct. Shout out to me.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Correct era, just not, wrong. What would you say?
Not the correct movie.
I would think that they would be nominated in the 72 awards if it came out in 71. But again, considering the taste of this voting body, I don't see them giving it to them at that time.
Especially at that time when it was about respectability, what we would describe today as respectability. civil rights, y'all get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first televised show was first for a late night audience and done by NBC back in '87, so before either of us was around. And it was broadcasting on weeks when Saturday Night Live was off. So essentially they were giving us the off time on air. Anyway, the show later transitioned to a national primetime broadcast on the Fox network in the mid-'90s. And in 2020 is actually when it started to air on BET, which I don't know why I thought it was airing on BET for much longer than that.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the NAACP Image Awards is one of those ones where, like, we talk about it in culture as like a signifier of something, but I don't know that people, even as it's streaming on BET, even as it is because I think this year they also showed it on CBS or something like that. I think it was all over places.
All of the Paramount stations had it airing. So I noticed they've been doing that with most of their award shows. Like I remember BET also
Awards,
being on VH1.
MTV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been doing that
cross-platform.
And I don't know, what was it like watching it for you last night? Like, did you watch it by yourself, or did you have some friends around? Like, did it feel like what maybe other award shows would give for like that communal viewing at home? Like, if you weren't in the room, was watching it on TV?
No, I was very bored. Thank you. I should know. Thank you for that history lesson about the NAACP or NAACP. I'm an NAACP Image Awards. But I found the show quite boring.
We should probably tell the people what NAACP stands for those who
they know what they know what the N, the A, the A, and the CP stand for.
Well, in the instance that we have some guests among us today, I'll go ahead and mention that
I'm just kidding.
NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So, closing the loop on that for folks who may not be aware. Welcome to I'm sorry, not the cookout, because you ain't welcome there. But thank you for joining us.
You ain't.
If you ain't know that, you ain't part of the crew.
You probably shouldn't have clicked on the video if you didn't know that. No shade.
Right.
But here we are.
Yeah,
here we are.
So I watched it last night by myself, despite trying to get my mom and grandma to watch it. They were just tired. It was, late. I'm on the East Coast right now. So it was 8 o'clock when the show started. And by the time it ended, it was like 10 o'clock. I will say it was a tight 2 hours. So it didn't run long like other award shows typically do. But watching it by myself definitely did not help the viewing experience for me. Because,
But has the NAACP Image Awards ever been a communal viewing experience for you?
There have been times where yes. But we'll get into that later. Right now, we're going to focus on the movies. The last night, or this year's NAACP Image Awards, honored 23 movie wins, I'll say. Or there were 23 movie-related wins at this year's NAACP Image Awards. 7 of those were televised, and 16 were non-televised. And today, I guess it'll be best for us to focus just on the televised, and we could do honorable mentions of the non-televised when we get down to it later on. So, as we know, our big winner of the night, it's no surprise, was Sinners. They took home damn near every category they were nominated for, but the ones that were televised included, of course, Outstanding Motion Picture, Outstanding Actor in a Motion Picture for Michael B. Jordan, Outstanding Actress in a Motion Picture actually went to your girl Cynthia Erivo with Wicked for Good, which...
She ain't my girl. Don't do that.
I mean...
Which you hold on now. I ain't like the way you said
You were the
that.
only one banging the gong for her all season, so...
I was not the only one. But y'all are disrespectful. Now, she wouldn't have been able to be there no way because she over there being Dracula 12 million different ways or something like that. But
well, she's a winner. She's a winner here. And we're going to keep going through the winners of the night. We have Outstanding Breakthrough Performance in the Motion Pictures, which meant to Miles Caton and not Catone, as the host Deon Cole announced him. But Miles Caton won for Outstanding Breakthrough Performance in a Motion Picture. And then we had 2 special awards that weren't exactly voted on, I don't think, but the President's Award went to Coleman Domingo, and the Chairman's Award went to Viola Davis. And then, of course, the big award of the night went to Entertainer of the Year for Michael B. Jordan and his performance in Sinners. So those were all the televised movie-related wins that we got that night. Was there anything or any of the speeches that stood out to you amongst those categories or wins?
The entire show was boring. Oh. No shade. It was. The entire show was boring. In terms of the speeches, I mean, Viola Davis, who looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, she looked so good. Oh, she looks so good. Yeah. And she had a nice speech, rousing speech, uplifting speech, your crown is paid for, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing we hear at all the speeches at this kind of event, no shade. But it was a nice speech, and she has a particular kind of delivery, right, in how she commands a space. Mm-hmm. And so I would say out of the speeches, hers stood out to me in particular. Did you have a highlight speech?
I was actually also going to go with Viola Davis. I love, one, just seeing her there. She's always someone who you can rely on for a really powerful, soundbite. And so I appreciated having her there to give her speech and share that moment. But otherwise, no one else really. I mean, people said great things, as they usually do, about just the political climate and where we are today. But I'll say that her speech was the highlight speech for the night for me of everyone there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to the point of the political climate, I mean, we kind of referenced it in our intro today, but to me, it felt so much of the show felt kind of as a response to what happened at the BAFTAs. And there were many, many moments throughout the show where people took the time, right, to big up the Sinners cast, to specifically big up Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, right? And to talk about the importance of, being here with the people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is great and wonderful, and also I wonder how that impacted the experience. The viewing experience and the attending experience, because the show becomes a response to this outside world as opposed to, being in and of itself ours.
Yeah.
That's how it felt to me,
and
at least.
Honestly, when you think about the organization itself that puts this on, that's kind of how they operate. They're always essentially reacting or doing things in response to a moment. And so the fact that the show seemingly tonally pivoted to reacting to that BBC airing of the BAFTAs moment felt very much so in line with what they do, but I do wish that it did not kind of cast a cloud over the entire ceremony, because it felt like everything just had to address that, where it felt like it didn't leave much room to celebrate or be celebratory in a sense for just being and doing the things that they did year round. And we knew Sinners. We knew Sinners was going to be a big moment this year in the NAACP Awards, because culturally it's been the thing outside of our culture and inside of our culture. So it's just I expected that much. Yeah. But one thing with the Image Awards that I noticed is that they shift kind of the central cultural, what word am I looking for? Not genre. 1 year it may be the Black Oscars, the next year it's the Black Grammys, the next year is the Black Emmys, depending on whatever cultural moment is is most impactful that year. So this year was very much so like movie centric. I remember previous years where it's very much so music centric. And I think that kind of like gives you a cue into like who's going to win Entertainer of the Year. Because I remember the year that Beyonce won Entertainer of the Year, like everything felt music related. And the year Black Panther won, like it felt like everything was movie related then. And the year that like Olivia Pope, or rather Kerry Washington, was doing Scandal, like it was a very TV heavy year. And like remember even recently with Abbott Elementary with Quinta Brunson, everything felt more TV centric. So this year's show was basically around movies, and it felt like because that moment happened, they felt the need to address and keep addressing and make that the moment. But I will say, I thought we were going in a different direction with the host opening monologue, but you know, we landed where we landed with the show.
Well, let's talk about that man, Deon Cole, who served as host.
What is up? How y'all doing, man? Make some noise, man. How y'all doing? That's right. Welcome to the 2026 NAACP Trump Image Awards, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. We had to do that. Yes, he wants his name on everything. I apologize. Yeah, if we didn't do that, we'll go to commercial and come back and an episode of Matlock could be on. So that had to happen.
Deon Cole has a very particular kind of humor.
He does.
It is a kind of humor that, for me, has more misses than it has hits.
Yeah.
For me, I do want to note, am I the audience of the NAACP Image Awards?
That's interesting.
Am I an audience that would respond in any way to Deon Cole as a host and how he attempts to make jokes and make light of, right? Not make light of, I don't want to say that, but to speak to the political moment and also be funny because it's an award show.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that is a tough job. No matter which award show you do it for, being a host, I think is a tough job. And also,
Yeah. So you bringing up if you are the audience for this actually makes me want to ask a question we usually ask for our movie episodes is, who is this for? Like, who is the NAACP Image Awards for, would you say? Like, who would squarely be in their audience demographic?
The NAACP Image Awards is for, you know, those people who say we should divest from the Oscars. It is for the folks who are not concerned with, you know, that's all I got. I was trying to find something else, but I think it's those kinds of folks, right? Because I as a winner. Actually, let me ask you, who do you think it's for before I go onto my soapbox?
I think it's for people who want to decenter white mainstream success as a barometer for progress. It's less about, I don't know, this may sound, it's not intended to sound shady. However, it's less about really the quality of the content and more so about the content's intention and existing.
Why do you say that when the main movie that won is Sinners?
Because Sinners is considered a film that is historically reverent. It has all black cast on screen presented in a way that has aspirational or positive intent like with the main characters, Smoke and Stack, being folks who are trying to create business and build something for their community. Like they have themes in that I believe the organization will find intriguing enough to honor. But that's why with knowing the history of like who's been awarded at the awards, understanding that there's also this conversation that's been had about how men and women have been treated differently with the awards. Like, for instance, when Tupac got nominated, I don't know if he won, but he got nominated, and he had like all of his, situations happening with his crime background. Like there was controversy about nominating somebody like that for an Image Award. And then times where like the Image Awards just did not have a actress or black actress category because they felt like there were not enough representations of black actresses in film, at least not to their standard. That's what makes me kind of like position the show as being targeted for that specific type of person or type of audience. So, yeah.
But I would just ask as a follow-up, how is that not a reproduction of the same systems that you say the show is supposed to be against? It's the same exclusion. It's the same, it's the same othering. It's the same judgment. And so is this really a space that is decentered from whiteness? On top of that, if every single speech is in a response to the whiteness that happened last week, you know what I mean? It was an interesting, I think, exercise. And yes, that, we uplifted our people, Sterling K. Brown, Quinta Brunson, etc., all of the folks, But still, it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the African American Film Critics Association Awards, which I think you might be able to watch it on the YouTube or something. I don't know. But that is a Black Critics Association. But similarly, most, if not every award went to somebody in Sinners.
Yeah.
And so the award show ends up being sinners after sinners after sinners after sinners. Oops, somebody else. Sinners after sinners, and as a viewer, as an audience member, to me, that's boring.
Yeah. It's repetitive.
Despite everybody getting I want everybody to get their recognition, and also what does a show, especially since we know, or at least there's ongoing conversations about the ways that the NAACP Image Awards in particular goes about selecting their winners and nominees for that matter. Which categories are open for public vote, which ones aren't open for public vote.
How do you feel about that public voting situation with the public being able to vote on who's nominated versus
well, they only do it for certain categories.
Yeah.
Only certain categories come with a public vote participation option. Like my category, which was outstanding literary work, instructional, I think is what they put it in. Ours didn't have a public vote. We also did not have an event, at which our award was awarded. I was a pre-recorded live stream.
Yeah.
So it's just, but also like you said earlier, we're only speaking about like the movie related awards, but the Image Awards is like 100 and some odd awards every year. Yeah. And so everything can't be on TV, certainly. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I was just like, I don't know. This, in so many ways, I think this is a show that like you have to keep recording it. You have to keep broadcasting it somehow, whether that's on linear TV or ends up, well, hell, the Oscars will be on YouTube in a couple years. So there's that. Yeah. But it feels like something that you have to continue doing for history's sake. Yeah. And for cultural preservation's sake. Yeah. But you know, you're not gonna hear the NAACP Awards getting nominated for an Emmy.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because, like, when you think of who the NAACP Image Awards are for, like,
but maybe they don't care about that.
I think that it's definitely geared toward more of a traditionalist audience, like people who love, you know, celebrating and reminding the community about civil rights and like the struggle and the progress of things.
Yeah, but they're not the types to yes. And also I found it interesting when Deon Cole proclaimed at the beginning F ICE, right?
Oh, is that what happened? Because I couldn't make out because so much of it was bleeped that, like,
yes, it was
I didn't go back and rewatch it, but everything was like there was like a long bleep where I didn't hear anything, and I was like, I can't even make out what he said. Is that what was happening? Wow,
that's what was happening. He said F ICE, and then it turns it into a joke about how he told Ice-T he couldn't come. He told Ice Cube he couldn't come. He didn't even want to look at the Winter Olympics because it was so much ice.
Wow.
But at first, when he says F ICE, the audience stands up. And there's vocal applause. I think Karen Bass there's a shot of Karen Bass, if I'm not mistaken, also standing up. I don't know if she's actually clapping or if she's just standing up, because everybody else was. But I was like, oh, that's interesting to me because I don't think that a traditional NAACP, would say, fuck ICE. I do think they would say immigration is a black issue.
Right. They would say it in a much more PC way. That's for sure.
But maybe that's the intersection of a someone like a Deon Cole as host, right? Because he is both. I feel like he checks the uncle and auntie box while also, having a little sharp edge every now and again. Yeah. Anyway. We've been running out of talk about these people.
And it was also with Deon Cole, those audience moments, like you call it a Karen Bass moment, when he mentioned Nicki Minaj. And what did he say? Something like, bless our sister or something, or I don't know. And the audience, it pans to the audience, and who was it that had a reaction that was hilarious? Or just like, I forgot who it was. But that's definitely something that I think he is known for being able to do, is like tap into like the youthful moment while also making it like accessible to the aunties in the crowd. So yeah.
Listen, being a host is a hard job. I get it.
I also, to your point about like the repetitiveness of the awards that were televised being so making the show feel boring. There were 16 non-televised movie-related awards, at least, that I think are worth, like, at least mentioning a few of here, because we talked about some of them. One of them was for Outstanding Animated Motion Picture, which went to Zootopia 2, which I honestly didn't really expect. Like, I was like, oh, I guess, black people...
Well, it's not competing against K-pop Demon Hunters.
Sure.
Or was it? I don't know.
I don't think it was.
Maybe K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated in the animated motion picture category, but my assumptions is that it was not.
But in my mind, I was like, what was even black about this movie? And I forgot that Quinta Brunson voiced the character in there, and she actually ended up being the winner for Outstanding Character Voice Performance as well. So... they had some other things that could have been interesting. One thing that we talked about on the show that I was surprised to like see win, Unexpected Christmas. Remember doing our Christmas episode when I brought that up? It's a Tabitha Brown movie.
Yeah,
they ended up winning Outstanding Independent Motion Picture. That was interesting to me.
Listen, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not gonna give no comment on it.
But that's because I couldn't get to it. Like I couldn't see it in theaters, so I missed it.
But it is something to also note is the submissions, like, right, how you submit yourself or your project to be considered in certain, categories. And so it got Outstanding Breakthrough Creative Motion Picture. That went to, I guess, Cassandra Mann. I don't know what her relationship is to the film. And then Outstanding Independent Motion Picture, which, I mean, like I said, I ain't seen it, so I can't say it was the outstanding independent motion picture. But I do believe I seen some others that should have been a fighting chance if they were submitted. Yeah. But you never know.
Personally, I did love 40 Acres. That was also in the category with it. But I didn't see Unexpected Christmas to be able to like really contrast that or compare it in an honest way. So congratulations to them. I love seeing like that there is room at least for other winners to have their time. Unfortunately, it wasn't on air, which I would have preferred.
I mean, but listen, it's the NAACP Image Awards. These are always great opportunities for us as individuals and the culture to be uplifted and recognized. And also, we have to recognize the importance of what we are doing and who we are outside of any recognition by the whites or the blacks, for that matter. You know what I mean? And that is the takeaway.
Yeah. It is indeed. And I know we have like our feelings about it being boring and our critiques of the show, but what's something that could have made the show better to you? Like, what's something that if you were producing the show, you would have put in there to give it a little bit more of a je ne sais quoi, as they say?
I think that some of the awards that they've placed into the non-televised ceremonies or these other, the NAACP Image Awards has like 4 or 5 events leading up to the actual awards. And different awards are given out at those different events, and some awards are just given out in a virtual, pre-recorded live stream situation. Your content creators, who were nominated and won, they were on the one of the others. I would have loved to seen them in the mix. That would make it interesting. That would bring in a new audience. Or an additional audience. I won't say new audience, an additional audience for folks who want to see, I think OBO was nominated. I think, what's the little girl, the girl from Spelman, Lene?
Yeah, she won, yeah.
She won, like, what would, and I would have,
or something.
Parking lot pimping, that's her. Folks that we like, online, bring those awards into the televised portion. I think that would, add a little something.
Yeah, and like I don't need I get we on BET, but one thing about it, every single show that airs on BET is going to have now introducing the cast of Tyler Perry's insert show here to present the next, and sisters trotted right on out. And I was just like, okay, I get that. What do we need it? Like, I would rather see, let's bring in OBO or bring in Lene or somebody to like add a different flavor or energy to the show. But also one thing that I would love to be added to the show is a musical performance or two. Like, give us some entertainment somewhere. Like, they had a perfect opportunity this year with the In Memoriam tribute to have a D'Angelo or Angie Stone tribute done. They just had the music playing. But the thing is, the Image Awards has had musical performances in the past here and there. Why not make that more of a routine thing? Like, there are ways to put that into the show for real.
Yeah, but it also requires more money.
Yeah, them backlines ain't cheap. You right about it. I've produced a show or two in my day.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that pops in my head as to why we didn't have that. Which is also what made it a little bit more similar to an African American Film Critics Association Awards or something, because it did not have that razzmatazz that award show razzmatazz.
Speaking of razzmatazz, did any of the presenters stand out to you specifically?
Boring. I mean, I'm just kidding. I mean, nothing that I would call home with. No one I was like, oh, love to see her.
I don't know if it's just because I'm so easily charmed by her, but I loved when Regina Hall came out, and it was like the very top of the show. And she what did she like pulled a track of weave out or something, and it was just great. She just has such a natural energy that I was like, oh, I wish she had more of her on the stage. But yeah, you're right. Like there weren't really a lot of big standout moments that happened. I did, outside of like movie moments, something that did stick with me was the Salt and Pepper moment, and what stuck with me was just watching energy in the room, because when they were introduced by MC Lyte, she does, her spiel about like what Salt and Pepper meant to them, and then as she says, now bringing up Salt and Pepper, however she throws to them, the camera pans to them, and you see Salt, Pepper, and Spinderella sitting there, and Spinderella's kind of just looking and waiting for her to be asked to come to stage too. Like there's this obvious confusion or tension happening, and like she comes up begrudgingly, and they do their whole thing. Salt does a rap, Pepper kind of does like her thank you to God thing, and then Spinderella comes up and shouts out There She Rose with her their sorority call and stuff. But that was, for whatever reason, that moment stuck out to me just because I was reading kind of the energy that was happening on stage. So yeah.
Well, they do got drama, don't they? Ain't there some drama?
I think they've resolved it, and so I think that's why I was like, she wanted the respect.
But also, yeah, but the thing is, it's tough in that situation because the name of the group is Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Even though Spinderella is part of the group name, and so I understand why she might have felt some way, or at least you perceived that she might have felt some way. But like, girl, that's Salt and Pepper and DJ Spinderella, girl. I don't know what you want them to do, beloved. But shout out to the Hall of Fame, I guess.
Yeah, and another moment that I thought was pretty.
You really had a lot of highlights, huh?
Well. Yes, and
okay, I love this for you.
But I think it's important to discuss this one because it was the Jesse Jackson tribute. It was very early in the show, and they had Samuel L. Jackson come out and eulogize him. And I thought that was a good moment. They didn't hold it for the in memoriam. It was a standout thing. Like Jesse Jackson, culturally, is somebody who's important enough to like have that extra time to kind of just take the moment to honor his legacy and his moment, especially as like, I think we're like having the funeral this week. So it was like very much so in the window of just honoring kind of someone who's impactful to all of us. So yeah, that was it for me. Anything else for you?
No, I thought, that was fine. Shout out, listen,
All right, so we can wrap it up and give our seated stream it or skip it for the NAACP Image Awards 2026. Where are you with it this year, Trey?
You know exactly where I'm at, and it is a stream it for the archive's sake, but it is a skip it. It's ultimately a skip it for the IRL live. Like, do you need to watch it now? No, you could skip it, but you might want to stream it in 5 to 7 years. To see a reflection of what life was like. Okay, at the end of Black History Month 2026.
Yeah. I'm going to say stream it, and just like specifically go look for Viola Davis' Chairman Award speech. I really loved her quote about becoming, and also
it's on the YouTube.
Yeah, and also when she was like, I just want to be somebody.
I didn't see hope. I didn't see dreams. I just wanted to be somebody. That is a hero's journey.
That really resonated with me. So that was definitely a moment worth checking out. And also, go look at when Ryan and Delroy Lindo were introduced and the energy that happened on stage that me and Tre'vell were kind of talking about, how that loomed over the entire show. Those are some moments to check out. But I guess we got a stream it and a stream it skip it with Tre'vell. So that's our thoughts on the 2026 NAACP Image Awards, the 57th annual NAACP Image Awards. I got to say it both ways. Just,
see, you try to play both teams. You gotta choose a side. Choose a side.
Yes. That's gonna do it for this episode of Seated. We have enjoyed unpacking the NAACP Image Awards. Tell us what your thoughts were in the comments below. Tap into the Seated Movie Club over at seatedshow.com/join. And Tre'vell, any closing thoughts you want to leave the people with?
Listen, y'all, we'll see y'all at movie day, okay? Peace and blessings.
Out. If you enjoyed this episode, share with a friend. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like and tap that subscribe button. And if you're listening, give us a 5-star rating and review us in your podcast app or wherever you're tapping in today. It'll really help folks find us as we grow. Seated is an independently funded production, and your support can help us go further. Consider becoming a card-carrying member of the Seated Movie Club at seatedshow.com/join, where we'll bring you more of this popcorn-worthy content, special events, and more. And how do we do all that we do? Well, you know it's not by ourselves. Our theme music was created by Buckroll and animation by Ashung Adi, with creative consulting by Jade Fox and publicity support by House of Heralds. This week's episode was edited by me, Ray Love Jr. Seated is a co-production of Slayzhon and FiftyLeven Media. It's hosted and produced by Tre'vell Anderson and Ray Love Jr. and filmed on location at the Walk Good Yard. See you at the movies. Holla! Oh, you asked me what I did for my grandma. We just did a dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, she turned 76 years old, so, just something like 75 was last year. But so her favorite restaurant, chain rather, is Bahama Breeze. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of Bahama Breeze.
Yes. Well, sadly, they announced they're closing, and so, we went there for her birthday as one last hurrah. So it was cute.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I forgot how good of a happy hour or like drink menu they have, period. It was like, this is good. And the food was good.
That's good.
I can't believe they shut them down. Closing them for no reason.
Bahama Breeze, breeze.
Yeah, my family is Bahamian, so,
Did I know that?
Yeah.
I probably was supposed to. Oh, I didn't got my headphones in. Hold on one second. Oh, shit.
On glasses. Sorry.
You and your vocal stems, as they call them.